Alright, update on Kadena. So we are going to jump into the technicals in the short term in just a moment. I did notice something very interesting in the higher time frames to start with. So let's jump into the higher time frames because we are seeing a very bullish signal, which is bullish divergence. You can see bullish divergence is where the price is going down, but the oscillator is diverging. So you can see the oscillator is going up while the price is going down. What does this mean? Well, first of all, before I do jump into this, there is one caveat. The RSI is actually moving down, showing that there's weakness in the market. So specifically for the money flow, because the RSI is not showing any forms of bullishness right now. So take this with a grain of salt, but we are seeing a very strong increase in the money in the market right now for Kadena. You can see a lot more money is flowing into the market, and you can see bullish divergence is happening right now. This is a huge macro signal that's playing out. I don't think on the higher time frames we've seen anything like this. When we were heading down here, we were heading down. When we were heading down here, we were heading down on our oscillators, down as well, and then you can see up. So we haven't had bullish divergence before, at least on your much higher time frames on Kadena. So this is something very interesting, and I will be keeping an eye out to see how this does play out over time. What is also interesting on your oscillators before we do move on to the lower time frames, check out the momentum, check out the moving averages and the volume for today. I did want to talk about how the RSI is getting very low at this moment in time. Historically, we've always bottomed at this kind of region around here where we are, so it is looking better and better by the day for Kadena. That is if you're someone who's sitting on the sideline like myself. If you've been DCAing this since the all-time high, then you know it might still be very unfortunate, but you know, nonetheless, the cowboy community, we've been sitting on the sidelines for Kadena since we broke down bearish, weren't we, at $6 something? So as we fell out of this channel, we were at $6.46. The cowboy family broke bearish on Kadena as soon as we flipped below. You can see we broke down, came back up, back tested not only the uptrending level of support, but your EMA ribbons as resistance. Since then, we've moved down approximately 47%. We're currently down about 45.5%. So once again, you know, we're seeing a lot of bullish technicals for Kadena, and you know, I'm going to jump into the momentum indicators in a moment because these are slightly contrasting. I do think a macro bottom can be near for Kadena, but as I always say in my videos, the trend is your friend until the end. I do not plan on trying to assume that I know better than the markets, that I assume I know where the bottom is, because no one does. None of us have a crystal ball. We're all just looking at the markets, trying to identify trends with a probability of breaking out in our favor. And at this moment in time, we've been talking about this the whole time. How would you define this downtrend? As you can see, we've flipped bearish from the 4-hourly EMA ribbons. What has happened since then? Well, every single time we've come back into your 4-hourly EMA ribbons, we are constantly getting rejected. What do you notice about these peaks? The peaks are getting lower and lower with every pump. So what does this mean? Does this mean Kadena could pump up to, you know, $4 once again and roll back down? Yes, it could. So I would not recommend trying to front run this. On the downside, you can see you got lows, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows, and once again down here we've got lower lows. So do I think you should be trying to catch a falling knife on Kadena just because we've got bullish divergence on the higher time frames? No, I absolutely do not. Do I think you should try and catch the falling knife because your oscillators are heavily oversold on most time frames? No, I also don't. And yeah, like I said, I mean, we're not seeing much else bullish in the market apart from that. We're not seeing any examples of a bottoming signal. Like, for example, we haven't done something like this yet, where we could potentially be setting up an inverse head and shoulders, breaking out of the EMA ribbons. We haven't seen, you know, a W pattern like this where we've come back down and held it as support, and then, you know, we can start talking about these breakouts. No, I mean, we're making lower lows and we're getting beaten down at this moment in time. So as always, the cowboy family has been sitting on the sidelines for Kadena for a very, very long period of time right now. Because of that patience in the market, we're getting a massive discount when we do decide to make a trade on Kadena, and not a lot of people understand this. A lot of people think, you know, why would you buy a breakout trade? Like, say for example, if you hopped above here and we had a breakout, you would buy at $4. You know, people would think, why would you want to buy at $4 when that's a 15% increase in the price, when you can assume that this is the bottom and buy now? Well, what if this isn't the bottom? Because people thought this was the bottom here and it wasn't, we went lower. People thought this was the bottom, we went lower. People thought this was the bottom, and every single time we kept on rolling further and further down. So once again, none of us have a crystal ball. We're all just looking at the markets, trying to identify trends, trying to identify a trade with the highest possibility of success. And in my opinion, looking at these moving averages, specifically your EMA ribbons, a plethora of moving averages right here are telling us that the trend is bearish and the trend is your friend until the end. So would you try and fight that? Would you try and catch a falling knife on this? I would absolutely not try and do that whatsoever. We've been very patient on Kadena. We've been sitting on the sidelines. Because of that, we've got a much cheaper price target. If we do keep on breaking down, because my last price target for Kadena was actually this move down to the 3.618. We were predicting a move down to $3.24. This was especially after we had a huge fake out and breakout, and I always say this, you know, a fake out equals a fast move in the opposite direction. You can see we did not hit the price target, we did not get continuation, we fell down and invalidated it. So we have not technically hit the price target. Do we need to hit the price target? No, we don't. So it's very 50-50 right now. Being patient is definitely your best friend at this moment in time. Tons of selling volume, and if we look at your momentum indicators on the daily, as we are making new lows, momentum is stepping in. Bears are definitely stepping in at this moment in time. There is a lot of velocity of the money, meaning there's tons of people buying and selling Kadena. This can swing very hard in one direction or the other if we're not careful. And like I said, we're not even bullish on the 1 hourly time frame since we broke down from this triangle. So I'd be very, very cautious about assuming that people know where the bottom is, because like I said, trend is your friend till the end. I'll be looking at buying a breakout of the EMA ribbons. Until that happens, there's nothing else to talk about. Trend is your friend till the end. We're clearly bearish. So that's all I've got for Kadena. Hope you found value in this video. As always, not financial advice. Cowboy out. Peace.